All right, 1 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. My name is Remco. I'm here today with my colleague Tori. We'll keep this session very practical, short, sweet, 30 minutes tops, I promise. This is not going to be about AI theory or about a ton of features. This really is going to be about general requests that become much bigger because the information is scattered, because people needs to be chased, and the answer needs to be rewritten in various ways. So during this session, first I want to show you a problem. We'll be explaining a different model. And then my colleague Tori, she will be showing what it actually looks like on a real request using EA. What's important, but I will point this out, the digital coworker that we'll be talking about is going to prepare the work for you, but ultimately you, as the worker, the user, you'll stay in control of the output and what goes out. First, let's start with a promise that most of us were given. AI was supposed to save time, like that's all we wanted. That was the promise. So there should be less work on your plate and more time for actual work. So for many people, that experience sadly is quite a bit different. The work hasn't really gone away, but the shape of it changed. So the work is now moved into prompting, checking, copying, rewriting, sending follow-ups. That part, that's the gap that we're looking at today. So not whether AI is useful, because I hope we all agree that AI can be incredibly useful, but whether we actually see that AI helps you move the work forward for the people using it. So what does that look like if we think about a normal request? Just take an ordinary request, right? You ask the AI to write something for you. You'll get something back, you'll check the answer, you might have to check it again because the context may be incomplete. Then you copy those results over into a new window or into a different message, and then ultimately, like you might have to chase someone for a missing piece of information or to get an approval. By itself, none of those steps is very big. But if you put it all together, that becomes the work on top of the actual work. And the original request still sits with you, which means that the AI has not taken responsibility for moving it forward yet. Um, Maybe you can relate to this. Just take a moment and think about an internal request or perhaps a customer request. It comes into you as one question, and then might turn into you having to forward several things, having a bunch of different internal chats, asking some people to send you update messages later in the week. I think we can all come across those quite frequently, right? So it doesn't really mean that the AI has to leave the work with you. I think the more useful question is, what's it going to do next? Um, if we think about useful AI in a work setting, we'd like it to do more than just being another chat window that opens or give you an answer to check. What you would like it to do is that it finds you the right information across different sources, across different teams. It should prepare you a draft, particularly take that chasing element away for you, and then ultimately keep that request moving while you'll be able to work on something else in the meantime. So when we describe this, that's what we mean by talking about a digital coworker. So we're not talking about a chatbot that sits there nicely and waits for another prompt, but we think about something that picks up a piece of work with you and works alongside you. It does the gathering, the preparation, and then it brings it back to you as a useful next step. So the digital coworker can do the action for you and does that coordination, but ultimately you want to stay in control of that judgment, more visible. So it's the time that is spent copying information between the different tools or having to rewrite something for a different audience. You need to do some prompting, some checking, and then in the end, wait for perhaps another colleague who has that missing piece of information. So when trying to map this into a workday, what you'll notice that those interruptions, they often sit between the work that people actually want to do. So they're easy to dismiss by itself because each one of them is very small. but they do break up the concentration and they push your unfinished work towards the very end of the day. So if we think about a simple example is you'll get an external question perhaps that comes in into someone in an account manager role. They know that the answer is not there in one place. So they'll move it through to procurement, who moves it through HR, it goes through legal or a different department, another specialist team. Various people within those teams all do their part. But it is the request that takes so long because the information needs to be found and checked and moved and re-explained. It is really the work around it that takes up the time. So if we think about a similar request, but we look at when a digital coworker is involved, it's a pretty simple model. So first that request comes in and it comes in where the work already happens. Then the AI agent, the digital coworker, finds the relevant information for you and it will prepare a draft. And then finally, you review it and you approve it. Looking at this, you notice that the human role is not being removed. If anything, the human role, it becomes more valuable because you spend a lot less time on gathering and formatting and nudging people, but you have more time to decide whether that response is actually the right response. It's really important also to note that those requests, like they can come in from anywhere, right? Whether you work in Teams, in Copilot, in email, or directly in EA, the route can change, but this operating model that you see here, that will stay the same. It will find the information, prepare the work for you, and then route it for review. It's a model in 3 steps. Let's see what it actually looks like if we look at one particular request in a bit more detail. So if you see this, you see 2 different paths. On the top path, I'd like to introduce a fictional character. The name is Alex. Alex has received one request. He needs the answer by Friday. Today we're at the start of the week, it's Monday. And he receives what sounds like a pretty straightforward question. Hey, Alex, can you confirm how we handle this and then send over any supporting evidence? So he knows that that information lives somewhere within the organization. So he passed on that request to procurement, and procurement says, "Okay, Alex, thanks. I'll have that checked with one of my colleagues." They move it on to legal, and someone from legal comes back to Alex asking, "Hey, I just had it forwarded to me. Can you provide some additional context? Because what is it for exactly?" So Alex will send it again. Maybe half a day goes by. Then he sends a little nudge, being, "Hey, do you have a little update for me?" Somebody else will be added to that conversation because obviously that's what we see, right? More people was that missing ingredient. Then we get to Wednesday, midweek. Alex is copying information from one document into another. We get to Thursday. By then, Alex is re-explaining this for the 4th time. And then ultimately saving that file as something like, okay, this is version 3, very final answer. And then it's done. I think the important thing to note here is nobody's actually doing anything wrong here. Like procurement did their job, legal did their job. So did Alex. He did the whole coordination of this, the whole orchestra. But the important thing is that's fine. But the problem is that that process is asking Alex to be the system that connects all the dots. If we look at the lower path, the same request comes into Alex. But instead of Alex having to manual connect everything, it is the digital coworker that picks it up. It will find the relevant information and it will then do the work until preparing a ready draft. From there, the right people can review it, the chosen approvers can approve it, and then Alex is being notified when the results are ready to share. This means that Alex's role, he still keeps the judgment, he's still accountable for that answer, but he no longer has to carry that whole coordination burden. So again, that issue is it's not that the organization is lacking any expertise, but it's that that request has to go through so many hoops before we get to the end result. And instead of having to ask Alex to be that system, we'd like to show you what it looks like if an agent can work in the place where the request already appears. So You've heard enough from me. I'm going to hand over to Tori. Tori will be keen to show you what it actually looks like if we look at particular requests. And then you notice that those little handovers that we've been talking about will be slowly disappearing.
Thank you, Remco. Okay, I am just going to share my screen. And hopefully you can see my screen here. So I'm just going to walk through two very quick examples of how this works. So the first in a more kind of traditional sense where you interact with the AI directly within a platform. So this is the EA platform where you can interact with the AI, and the agents live and work within this platform and can help you to move work around this platform. So for example, I can show you here this is a Excel document that's come in and it requires some answers to it. Like I would with any other model, I can upload this into the platform and get answers generated for me. As we know, that's only a part of the process, as Aramco said. So there's a few things here that the AI is already starting to do. So we've got a drafting agent here, which is helping me to write the prompt based on a few questions that it's asked me about the form. And this allows the entire organization to get a high quality response from the platform, rather than leaving that down to a human variable, where some people maybe are more skilled in prompting AI than others. So that's the first agent we've interacted in without even really noticing it. It's just taken a big chunk of human work and made that effortless to us. What that's doing now is generating those responses within the platform. And what that will do is it will go through those approved documents and answers and create answers to that form, which it has done very nice and quickly for us. Once we're within the review process, we can take a look at any one of those answers, and we can then see here that the AI has drafted the answer, and we have some things here. Within the discussion, I can then ask the AI, perhaps I'm unsure, for example, who is the best person to approve this response? And now the AI becomes my assistant without me having to ask another human, who actually do I need to get this signed off for before releasing this information to the customer. So immediately, just a quick question about our internal policy, and the AI is taking it over. What the AI can then do is then take that response and get it approved for me. So it says here, Charles is the best approver for this response. So I'm just going to ask EA. Internally, we use Slack, so I'm just going to ask EA to chase Charles on Slack for approval. And there we go. That's now off my plate. The agent has taken it away from me and is going to go chase Charles down until it's found approval for that response. Now, this is if I'm doing a longer diligence task and working on something within the platform, but a lot of these requests will come directly into email or perhaps Teams as well. And that's where the EA agents live also. So from email, it's quite a simple forward it into the platform and just have the conversation via email rather than via the platform. And same with Teams as well. So if I go to my chat here, I've got a few different ways to interact with the agent within Teams. The first is I can have my own private chat with the agent. So if I want to ask the agent a question without the rest of the team seeing, I can just ask it questions about, for example, policies or various other things. So maybe I've got a question coming in and I need to just ask, get it to tag. A quick question to get a response for. I can do that here, and you can see that it's going to just come back to me and give me the answer here directly in the chat without me needing to kind of go off and search for that somewhere else. Or I can also do that within a chat with the team as well. So you can see here, I asked the same question earlier, and it's just come back through here. Now, the great thing here is if you are one of those people that receives a lot of these questions internally from the team, what you can do instead of answering all of those questions is tag the agent to answer the question, maybe even send it to you for approval first if you want to check the first draft of a response, and then send it back to the person that asked, all directly within the Teams platform, or if you prefer, within the EA web interface as well. So that's a quick overview of everything we do. I'm going to just pause there, see if Remco's got anything else he'd like me to share directly, or if we've had any questions.
Thanks, Tori. No questions there. So I think we're pretty clear on that element. I think what you've just seen really is the same model that we've been talking about. I'm just going to try and whoop, go back to share my screen here. Because nicely to wrap it up here is whether those requests come in over email, over Teams, like honestly, like it doesn't really matter, but you see that you have the agent working alongside you to provide you with that relevant information and really become a part of your team. So if you have a look at those three prompts on the screen here, if you wish, you can, but don't feel like you need to share a polished answer. Just think for yourself if one of those requests that you might be working with is something gets stuck because information has to move between people, documents, tools. If there's anything you wish to share, you can of course put it in a chat, but I realize that yeah, like these are often things that you recognize immediately, but don't want to put it out in a public chat. I think the main thing for me is, and that's the question I want to leave you with today, is if you think about your own organization, do you notice there's still people there that act as the connection between like these elements? Um, Ultimately, the next step is not really for us also either to automate everything or to change the way that your organization works overnight. What's most important is that we want to take real requests and then, of course, explore if an agent, a digital coworker could help you to move that forward. So if you can think of requests like that, please do come and speak with us afterwards, after the session, or feel free to get in touch with us. You can use the links on the screen or scan the QR code also, like to sign up for a trial. We'd be happy to explore together with you to see if AE could be a good fit for you for your own workflow. Thanks again
Remco,
for
just before you finish, I think we do have someone with their hand up with a question, actually. So Henry, I'm just going to allow you to talk so you can ask your question.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, thank you very much. I just had a very short question regarding the context and memory system. So how does the system, evolve over time? Does it also take in information perhaps sent from via chat, or is it that we set up a knowledge base once? And then secondly, connected to that one, how is the memory system that you connect with this tool set up? Is it a rack system? Is it I don't know, vector database system, or how much information can it actually consider from a company internally?
So a couple of different questions there. I'll answer them probably at a high level now, but happy to dive into this at a deeper level after the webinar as well. So firstly, your knowledge base can be connected to all your current tech stack. So we use MCP connections to connect into anything you've got in your current tech stack, so that all of your company information that you think is useful or valuable can be connected into that. You can then either upload an organizational chart for the agent, or we can help you to walk through a setup process around organizational context, which allows the agent to chase certain people or advise who would be the best person to approve, as you saw in the demonstration there. And then each time you interact with the AI, it's also saving memories, which becomes the third part of your knowledge base. So those memories might be pieces of information that just live in people's minds at the moment, which is quite often quite a lot of things that come up rarely for people, but are important. Or you've got things that, for example, might be around interpersonal relationships. So, for example, a certain person usually reviews something before someone approves it. Those sorts of things you can either just respond to the AI before you send this to Charles. You need to send it to Remco first, for example, and then the AI will remember that, and next time it has a similar task, it would also do that as well. So all of that's configurable for you, so that it essentially learns like another human would.
Thank you
Does
very
that answer
much.
your question?
Absolutely.
Pleasure. Great. I can't see anyone else with their hand up at the moment. So Remco, I'll let you finish up.
Perfect. Thanks. If there's no more questions, in that case, I wish to thank you for attending. Please do get in touch with Tori or me afterwards to figure out how we can help you with your workflow. And I'd love to thank you and wish you a lovely rest of the day. Thank you. Bye-bye.